confident.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
All that confident.
I'm very confident.
Before we get to the Lakers and who they'll be facing, we got to break down everything we saw last night because it provided another thrilling end to a Game 7. James Harden went 1 for 9 from beyond the arc for only 17 points, but made up for it on the defensive end when it mattered. Up 1 with 3 seconds left. Harden blocked the three-point attempt by Lou Dort, who'd had a game that would have given the Thunder the lead. After Houston made 1 of 2 free throws, OKC had a second left to inbound, but couldn't complete a pass to get a shot off in time. So, Shannon, did the Rockets win this game, or did the Thunder lose it?
The Rockets. The Thunder lost this ball game. Skip, they were the best team in clutch situations. And the previous games that they won those games in clutch situations. Nobody was better in clutch situations than Chris Paul this year. And for whatever reason last night, they weren't good. You look at it, Skip, they went 1 for 9 with 4 turnovers in the final 4 minutes. Chris Paul missed a bunny. He's in the lane 5 feet from the basket, and he left it short. Dennis Schroeder earlier, Skip, he missed 2 point-blank layups. That's not like them. Those are the shots that they were making in the previous games that they had won. And Chris Paul took 1 shot in the final 8 minutes, Skip, after making 3 of his shots and 2 of them were threes? That's what Chris... No, come on. Skip, in a game in which Lou Dort gives you 30. You got to, in a game in which he gives you 30 and James Harden struggles on the offensive end like he did, that's a game you've got to win. You've got to win that game. All you wanted to do was give yourself an opportunity late in the ball game. They didn't blow you out. It wasn't a situation you were trying to play catch up for the entirety of the ball game. You were right where you wanted to be. I guarantee you, if the OKC Thunder was drawing this game up, say, how would you like for it to play out? Just give us a chance with the last 5 minutes in the ball game. That's all we can ask for. Billy Donovan, that's all he wanted, was an opportunity to be in this ball game late in the ball game. And it was right there for them for the taking. And they let it go. They let this ball game go. There's no other way around it. I tell you what I did like. I like a guy, Skip, that when he's struggling on the offensive end or struggling in any aspect of his game, he finds another way to impact the ball game. And in years past, I'm not so sure James Harden would have done what he did last night because those 3 block shots, those steals were big considering that how poorly he had played offensively. But, Skip, the Thunder lost this ball game. There's no other way around it. They go 1 for 9, 4 turnovers in the final 4 minutes when they've been as good as anybody in the NBA in those situations. What hurt them the most, Skip, was turnovers. And if you go back and look at it, normally they pounded Houston on the glass. Houston turned the ball over. Well, if Houston's going to stay close to you in the ball game as far as rebound, and you're going to turn it over, this is what happened, and they lost this ball game. But the Thunder gagged this one off, Skip. There's no other way around it. Gallinari had made how many? 57 straight free throws? And what did he do coming up? Spit the bit. Chris Paul should have taken that shot because he was 6 of 6 in the ball game, Skip. He's a 90% free throw shooter. I understand Gallinari had made 57 straight, but let me ask you a question.
29 in a row in
these playoffs.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question, Skip. How was he shooting the ball last night? How many in a row did he make last night? We're not talking about, see, you want to talk about, oh, he did this, he did that. Last night.
If you were the coach, you're sending Danilo Gallinari
I'm letting Chris Paul. I'm letting Chris Paul shoot that shot.
Stop it.
Skip, the man is 90%.
That's the easiest 20/20 hindsight I have ever heard in the history of Undisputed.
Ask Steve what
59 in a row? It's absurd.
Skip, how was he playing last night?
I don't care.
See?
Man, last night.
And that's why you're going home.
Big shots for this team.
When I'm talking about last night.
Oh, stop it.
I'm talking about last night. See, you keep going, but see, that's the thing. You like to dig up the past. Well, he did this, he did that. We're talking about right now in the moment.
I'm digging up the present.
And how did he play?
59 in a row?
Okay,
You're kidding. There's no way. You're sitting in Billy Donovan's seat, there's no way you say, Chris, you go shoot this.
Can I ask you a question?
Stop it.
How was he playing last night? That's all I'm asking. How was he playing last night? Did you notice, of all the people that played in the game last night, he had the lowest plus minus. Excuse me, highest. It was in a bad way. He was minus 16 in 27 minutes. Go ahead.
I am going to take nothing away from the Houston Rockets. They won this game in all the little big ways. They've been winning lots of games this year since they went small. I have told you again and again and again and again and again, the Rockets now play defense. The Rockets now disrupt you with their amoeba zones and their small ball scramble defenses where they all play all 5 positions. And guess who leads the playoffs to date in forcing turnovers? Oklahoma City's turned the ball over. It's because they're getting it turned over by the Houston Rockets. If you look at this team right now, who, like in the playoffs so far, Covington is 3rd in deflections. James Harden is 5th in the playoffs in loose balls recovered. Who in the history of the NBA could have imagined James Harden, who can just fat cat it? That's his reputation, that he's not going to try hard. He's going to play no defense. He's 5th in the playoffs so far in loose balls recovered. And P.J. Tucker leads in the playoffs in charges taken. That's how they're beating people, with their defense. Last night, they clamped down on the Thunder down the stretch, and this was the clutchest team in the NBA, and they were having a hard time finding a shot over that stretch that you're talking about. And all I know is that the shot of the game came from the least likely source on the Rockets. And you got to give credit to P.J. Tucker.
Yeah.
And if you look at the box score, what did he do for the game? P.J. Tucker has a grand total of
5 points.
2 of 8. He has 5 points, but look at that. He had 9 rebounds, and he had 4 steals. But he had 1 shot that won the game. With 1:25 left, what had Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just done? He had escaped wide open to the corner. They had found him, and he had buried the 3 that suddenly put, wait a second, the Thunder are up. So the Thunder up. I love that expression from back in the day with obviously Durant and Westbrook in my hometown of Oklahoma City. Thunder up. And all of a sudden, Houston comes down to the other end, and if we could see this shot that P.J. made, they run him off the 3-point line because all he does is shoot corner threes. That's all. His whole life is corner threes. And Steven Adams made a run at him, and he goes up and under, and watch this. From James Harden, up and under. That's a hard shot. It's a little 12-foot running jumper.
You don't expect it.
How many of those had he shot in the whole year? Because I checked this out. During the year, he attempted 299 threes. He attempted only 127 twos in the race. So only 30% of his shots in the regular season were from 2-point. And that's a running jumper where you're kind of going toward the basket. And it's a touch shot that's not in your repertoire. So you're like, how do I do this? Do I just barely do it? How do I just gently leave it just over the rim? He swished it. They never relinquished the lead from that point forward. So then we come down to the play of the game that you mentioned for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and Chris Paul has had a sensational year. He has led in clutch points. I got it. But he creates for himself an 8-foot wide-open jumper in the lane. Okay, this is it now. This is for the lead. And to your point, he kind of short arms it and doesn't even get it up on top of the rim. It's so short, it just bangs off the front of the rim. And that's basically going to be the ball game, which brings us...
If you give Chris Paul 10 of those shots, how many do you think he makes?
Game 7, 44 seconds left. I don't know. If it's all about circumstance. Chris Paul's never played in the NBA Finals.
It's all about circumstance. But you want Gallinari taking that free throw, Game 7.
59 in a row? That's absurd. It's just absurd. Okay, so it had been the Lou Dort Memorial Game. I love Lou Dort. I have tweeted about him before. I have said Sam Presti strikes again. Chip off the block of R.C. Buford in San Antonio. Sam Presti is always, like R.C. Buford, finding